Saturday, May the 18th, a particularly historic day for everyone connected with Oldham Rugby League Club. It was the day of the Rugby League Championship final at Odsal Stadium in Bradford. The Roughyeds of Oldham taking on the early birds of Hull in a Transpennine clash to savour. In keeping with the tradition of the times, a brass band entertains the crowd. We can see them here marching round the massive Odsal Bowl as they play through their repertoire. Oh no you don't! Hull fans trying to adorn the pulse with their scarves, only to be stopped first by an Oldham lass, and then the long arm of the law in the shape of the Yorkshire Bobbies. Hello, hello, hello. Is that a policeman's hat? Probably not. Nevertheless, the lads seem to be enjoying their moment of glory before a massive attendance. As the kick-off approaches, the supporters and fans take their place and look forward with anticipation to the forthcoming action. The flags flutter in the Yorkshire air. Oldham, led by skipper Bernard Ganley, takes the field. You'll notice, by the way, in strict match number order. Dick Cracknell, Alan Davies, Denny Sayers, John Etty and Frank Daly, to name just a few. Another look at the mass ranks of supporters. Traffic had been steady over the Pennines from the late morning onwards, with a good following also coming from the East Coast. All of these fans converging on Odsal, were over 62,000 packed into the famous Bradford venue. Then, the moment everyone had been waiting for, the teams appear and run out onto the pitch, stretch their legs ready for the forthcoming contest. Then it's the toss-up. Johnny Whiteley wins and picks the way to play. Frank Pitchford kicks off, and straight away Charlie Winslade puts Hull under pressure until Colin Hutton dives on the loose ball, just there ahead of Derek Turner. Hull then tests the Roughyeds, but are met with a stout defence. The ball goes loose and rolls out of play with John Etty in hot pursuit. Another Hull attack ends with Johnny Whiteley being forced into touch by Sid Little, John Etty and Ken Jackson. Oldham then in possession, but Frank Pitchford's pass is too high for John Etty. Then Hull show they too have good defensive qualities by keeping Oldham at bay. But they return to the attack, where it needs a good tackle from Bernard Ganley to end the danger. Now Oldham raise their game after Frank Daly is unceremoniously dumped. Frank Pitchford wrong-foots the Hull players with a quick change of direction to set up an attack on the right flank. Moments later, the play switched to the left, where John Etty avoids Jeff Dannert and Tommy Harris to score. The try is seen from two different angles, and Bernard Ganley added the goal. Next, it's right wing Dick Cracknell, who breaks clear. He passes to Derek Turner, who hands on to Sid Little, who plunges over the line, but only for the effort to be disallowed. The decision? A double movement. There's Colin Hutton again being tackled by Denny Sayers. Defensive pressure from the Oldham forwards results in a knock-on from Bill Drake. Half-time, and the teams take a well-earned breather. As you're about to see, the state-of-the-art scoreboard tells the story of the first 40 minutes, with Hull in the lead by 6 points to 5, courtesy of 3 goals from Hutton. The first 2 were penalties, and the last one a drop goal, just as the first half moved into injury time. On to the second half, and the first piece of action sees Derek Turner putting paid to a Hull attack. Then there are similar efforts from Dick Cracknell and Bernard Ganley, before a fine crossfield passing movement from Hull, only to be met by more resolute Oldham defence. The scrum goes to Hull, but Tom Finn is brought down by his opposite number, Frank Pitchford. There isn't much to choose between the two teams, but Oldham eventually get on top. Derek Turner puts in a fine break and kicks ahead down the left to keep Hull pinned in their own quarter. And then, after good approach play by Dom Vines and Alan Davis, Dennis Ayres scores near the post. Frank Pitchford, Jack Keith and Charlie Winslade are the first to congratulate the Oldham centre, and then they turn to acknowledge the part played in the move by Davis. You won't be surprised to hear that Ganley converted the try. Dick Cracknell is again seen to be a threat down the right wing. Bernard Ganley plays the ball. Ken Jackson, Sid Little and Jack Keith drive it in for the Roughyeds. The final action shows a scrum near the Oldham try line. Jack Keith hooks the ball and Frank Pitchford collects the possession. Then the match is over and Oldham fans invade the pitch to celebrate. The final score, 15 points to 14 for the Roughyeds. Carl Turner scored a try for Hull, that was goal by Hutton, but a penalty from Ganley, the converted try from Dennis Ayres, followed by a second from John Etty, was just enough. Bernard Ganley is carried shoulder high before going up to receive the trophy. He's closely followed by Dick Cracknell and Charlie Winslade. Champions at last, Hull have got the cup, but now their time's up. A reference, of course, to the fact that Hull were the holders of the trophy, having won the championship the previous year against Halifax by 10 points to 9 at Main Road. Then it's back to Oldham, where the crowds gather at the town hall across the road near the iron railings in front of the Greaves Arms. The parish church clock marks a historic moment. The rosette seller looks for trade. Patiently, they wait. Then the team bus arrives. Bernard Ganley brings in the championship trophy, followed by coach Griff Jenkins and the club president Bill Howard. There's Alan Davis with the Lancashire Cup and the rest of the victorious team. Big Charlie Winslade, Sid Little, Frank Daly, Frank Pitchford, Dennis Ayres, John Etty, Ken Jackson, Dick Cracknell, Dom Vines, Jack Keith and the one and only Derek Turner. Etty, Cracknell and Davis. What a lineup. Bernard Ganley makes a speech through the megaphone. And then there he is again with the Lancashire League trophy. Alan Davis and Dick Cracknell share a joke, probably about Bernard's speech. There's the Law Cup, won in pre-season with a win against the Hornets. And then the championship trophy is hoisted aloft. Other speeches follow. There's Bill Howard handing over to John Etty. Then Derek Turner has some banter with the crowd. A few words of wisdom from Sid Little, watched by the club captain Frank Sterrett. There's Alan Davis. He didn't need a megaphone. Ladies and gentlemen, please salute the 1957 champions.